My guest today is one of the greatest soccer players in Arizona State history. In all 4 years at ASU, she led the team in scoring and she is a member of the Sun Devil Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2025. Cali Farquharson. Cali, such an honor to be chatting with you today. And recently, I saw that you were in attendance at the ASU soccer game against UTEP. How fun was it being back at the soccer stadium?
Yes. Honestly, it was great. It was also their senior night, so there was a big crowd, a lot of community, and it was fun because we were able to be on the sidelines on the field level. And again, it brought back some fun memories, some good memories, just back to those playing days. And they look
It's
great. They look so good this year too.
oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that because, the soccer team has just been killing it. From what you've seen, what have been the factors in the team's success this season?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, they have a lot of fight and creativity up front. I think too, they know how to keep possession and play the right passes. They're very smart on the ball, and so they're able to distribute, break lines through the middle, switch the point of attack, all the things to drive the ball into the attacking third and get those goals. I don't know if you're familiar with soccer lingo, but that is my coaching point.
They've been super fun to watch. No, I think we just had a very big win against I think it was BYU. I think it was like just a week or two ago. That was huge.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch. Very
Yeah,
fun team.
yeah. That BYU win was really big for us to get our name on the board there.
Now I got to ask, what was your reaction when you heard the news that you were being inducted into the Sun Devil Athletics Hall of Fame?
Oh my gosh. It was such a crazy day for me emotionally because my mom had fallen and she was in the hospital and we weren't sure what her injuries were like. And then I get a text like, "Hey, like, are you able to take this call early?" And I'm like, "What's hap-" Like, no. And he's like, "It's really important." And I was like, "What is going on?" So, turns out my mom was okay, and I called him after that. And I was with my family, and he was on speaker, ironically, and we all just were like started cheering, and it was a roller coaster of emotions from that stress of, oh, how's my mom? To, oh my gosh, this euphoria of like, I'm getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it was definitely a crazy day, but again, very, very appreciative and grateful.
Have you thought at all about what you're going to say in your speech at the induction ceremony?
Yeah, that is a great question. It's coming up in a couple weeks, so I definitely need to button up my speech. There are a few just outlines and little tidbits I have here and there, but I definitely need to iron that out here soon because I'm all about preparation and I would like to practice before I speak in front of a large group of people. So definitely thought about it.
Yes, of course. And preparation is always key, especially as as an athlete. So, um,
Oh yeah.
no. And then I guess just one last thing about that is, I mean, just in general for you, what does it mean to you to be honored by ASU in this big way?
Yeah, I mean, I am again beyond grateful, beyond appreciative. I'm part of a prestigious class of, hard workers. And again, it's just a reminder for me to know how far I've come and the journey that I've had since college as well to reflect on and look back on. But yeah, I mean, it's an absolute honor. And a part of me has imposter syndrome. Like, what? Like, really? Like me? Like inducted? Like, it's kind of surreal and crazy. But it means the world to me.
Now, before college, you attended Shadow Mountain High School. I'm curious, in what ways did your student athlete experience in high school help prepare you for life in college?
Life in college. Yeah. So for high school soccer at Shadow Mountain, their program at the time that I was there wasn't very good. We would lose games like 8-0. And I think at one point I was playing center back. So I would say, at least when it comes to the school aspect of high school soccer, I only played my freshman and senior year just for fun, but predominantly it was club based for me. So I played club majority year round in high school. But it definitely prepares you for college because you have to manage your school load with your soccer load. And so in college, it also takes just a whole nother level of intensity. It takes on a whole nother level of intensity. So um, it's that foundation you need. And then in college, it's you're building off of that foundation you built from high school student athlete era phase.
Initially, I thought this was so interesting. You've talked about this in the past. Initially, you didn't want to stay in state for college. At first you wanted to leave Arizona. So,
Yeah, for
in
sure.
the end, what made you want to stay home?
Man, I really fell in love with ASU's campus. I had been on a couple other visits and nothing spoke to me and resonated with me as much as ASU did. Oh, excuse me. Um, and I think it's that idea of, I grew up here. Of course, I'm gonna want to get out and like go try to experience something new. And I think for me, what really solidified it was when I went on an unofficial visit somewhere else, and one of the girls was crying because her family couldn't make it, I think, to the senior night or something like that. And um, or was upset that her parents couldn't come to this game that she was starting in. And one of the bonuses of going to Arizona State is I get my whole family to come to the games. Every home game, they're there, they're present, they're supporting me, my friends that stayed local. And then again, it was just far enough away from home to be different. I grew up North Phoenix. I wasn't in Tempe a lot, so it was still all very new to me. But yeah, the campus, the people, the facilities, yeah, they sold me.
Before deciding to attend ASU, were there any other schools you were thinking about possibly going to?
Yeah, there were, but the thing that stuck out with me the most with ASU too was the head coach at the time, Kevin, said, "Hey, you're going to come in as a freshman and start." Whereas the other schools I was looking at were like, maybe your junior year, you'll start getting some more playing time, or you're going to have to really work hard your freshman year or sophomore year to get minutes. And Kevin was like, you're going to be the face of our program. We want you. You're coming in, you're starting. And that was, again, a big positive for me. And that's something I try to preach to girls now that are looking to play collegiately. Just go where you're going to play. That's the main thing. Go where you're going to play, go where they value you and see you fitting into their program.
You made an immediate impact in your freshman season as you earned
Yeah.
Pac-12 all freshman honors. I mean, how important was it to have such a successful freshman year to really lay the groundwork for the following 3 years?
I was so green freshman year. I just went in. I was like, oh, I scored a goal. Oh, I scored a goal here. I scored a goal here. Like to me, it was just like, yeah, this is college. I didn't realize how hard it is to score 10 goals in a season, um, would be, especially for a freshman. So I was very green, naive. No one put that pressure on me either coming in as a freshman to, you have to perform. Sorry. So yeah, I look back and I'm glad that I was that naive in a sense, because if I would have added that stress and that pressure and thought, oh, I have to, perform by or to X, Y, and Z standard, like what would I have thrived as much? Um, so yeah, it was still very, very important though.
Yeah, and then during your sophomore campaign, ASU had a huge moment, this huge win against Stanford. And this win, it ended Stanford's 73 game home winning streak. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Uh, what
Yeah.
what memories do you have from that game?
Oh my gosh, that was one of all of our favorite memories looking back when it was like our senior day. Like, what's your best memory? It's like beating Stanford. But the girl that had scored in that game, she was my roommate. And so it was really awesome and rewarding to see her get this goal and, get these highlights for the rest of her life too. But we were all elated and ecstatic. And to do that when Stanford was at the prime and peak of their program, it's cool. It's cool to look back and be like, yeah, that was my team. I was a part of that team, and that was my roommate that scored. So,
We're talking about memorable games here. I mean,
yeah.
the last one of your collegiate career, it's in Tucson. It's against U of A, the arch nemesis. And what do? You go out and score a hat trick. And I mean, pretty amazing. And I
Yeah.
believe you said that before the game, you were actually visualizing yourself scoring a hat trick, and then you went out and did it.
I don't know what happened that game. I almost had a fourth goal too. A little tap in that I somehow missed. Um, but yeah, I mean, I again, it was such a long time ago. So thanks for jogging my memory. I think I did do some visualizations before that, like, and I think I was just feeling myself. Like we were, we crushed it. I can't remember the final score. I think it was 4-1,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yes. Yep,
5-1.
yep,
Yeah,
4-1.
yeah,
Yep, that
something
was
like
it.
that. So, and we went up early, and it was just a really fun game and good game to end my collegiate career on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And to
Yeah.
do it against the Wildcats, the big rival. I mean, because I've been to some of the ASU U of A soccer games, and people always bring up like football, how intense those battles are, and like American football. But gosh, the soccer games are just as intense.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think what was really cool too was my junior year, we played NAU in the playoffs and they put extra seating and expanded the stadium to go behind the north goal, and it everything was full. And that was again, at the time probably the largest crowd I had played in front of. And so the energy from just having a crowd out there too just helps mentality, like game winning mentality, like trying to score, impress like all these people in the audience. Um, but that was also another really fun game with a really, really big crowd.
I was gonna ask you about the about the fan support and how great it is for ASU soccer. You of course got to experience that, and I want to say I think I've seen like some videos and photos of you like taking time out to meet with like little kids and stuff and like sign autographs, take photos, the whole nine yards. When you're getting to have those experiences and you're able to make someone's day by
Yeah.
doing that, like what does that mean to you?
Yeah. I think it's also crazy how much that philosophy has stayed with me to this day as well. I'm very passionate about mentoring the youth, especially female soccer players, and I have always wanted to be a positive role model in their lives. So it really did start at ASU. Like, how can I show these little girls like what life is like as a collegiate soccer player and like who they could potentially become or be better than. Whether that's taking the time just to have a friendly conversation or a smile, sign some autographs, show them, personality a little bit. Like you can play soccer and be fun. So I think those small habits that I did in the collegiate level that stuck with me to the in the pros. And now it's a big, still really big passion of mine to be a positive female role model.
During your time at ASU, in what ways would you say that you grew as a leader?
Yeah, my time at ASU, what ways did I grow as a leader? Um, for me, my style of leadership at ASU was leading by example. And I was able to grow in confidence by my senior year in communicating with girls and still being positive. I think that was always my big number one positivity. How can I drive the energy of the team? How can I drive the team culture? How can I drive communication and be a mediator for teammates? So that essentially was the biggest growing factor for me from my freshman year to my senior year was just taking on those responsibilities. And that just was growing with confidence, right? You're senior at this point, you know how things operate, you know how things run, um, how things work, and you have to take on that role, champion that role of, how can we leave a legacy behind and continue to have this program or continue to have the value, or can the program continue to have the values that we enforce after we leave?
And what would you say is the overall impact, just in general, that Arizona State has had on your life?
Oh my gosh. I always reflect on that question. That's a great question. I think I had just the best time at ASU, just in regards to the program, the community, the education. I look back and it was definitely one of the best times of my life, right? And I think I do feel spoiled in a sense that I got to be a face of a program and I got to be the one getting interviewed and accolades because that doesn't happen in everybody's life, right? And it doesn't happen all the time. And I feel very fortunate that that was my life. And it's really cool because now, that's something, again, I reflect on like, oh, that that wasn't normal. Um, so I loved my time at ASU. I'll always be a Sun Devil. Um, and it was definitely best memories, a lot of best friends created from that journey, and definitely unforgettable.
I watched an interview you did with Pac-12 Network, so this was like way back when. But
No idea you're talking about.
yeah, it was like this interview you did, and you talked about this alter ego you had called
Yeah,
called Callista.
yeah.
Where did this alter ego come from? I'm so curious.
Why didn't anybody tell me I would regret that in 10 years? It was honestly just a joke that one of the assistant coaches, Blair, made, just like, oh, Callista was out today. Like, just because I had some fiery spirit in a game, I think once, and then it just stuck like, oh, Callista, like, blah, blah. So again, I ran with it and it became, the running joke and spread like spread to the Pac-12 interviewers and the people at the Pac-12. And then I was yeah, I was just like, oh my goodness. And so yeah, it's definitely funny because having some regret with that one, but it's okay.
Now, after your time at ASU, you went pro and you got drafted by the Washington Spirit of the NWSL. What was your reaction when you heard that you had been drafted?
Yeah, I was surprised. Um, I just didn't know. I went in having no expectations. I was like, if I get drafted, I get drafted. If I don't, I don't. Just like, we'll see where the wind blows. Maybe that was a defense mechanism that I had. Um, but yeah, after that, it was again like very real and very like, oh my gosh, this is happening, right? And when I got drafted, the coach at the time, said, "Hey, the draft being drafted is just like a fancy way of having you come try out." I said, "Okay, so I'm not on the team." He was like, "No, you're not on the team yet. You still got to make it." And went into preseason, was there for a month, and earned a spot on the team. Things have changed now. It's way different in the league. Once you're drafted, you're signed, you're secure. Back then, when I played, when I started, it was a whole nother beast, a whole nother machine. Um, so yeah, very, very stressful to think I have to travel all the way across the country to essentially try out for a month.
What was the transition like for you going from the college game to the pros?
Yeah, I had an up and down phase in my first year trying to figure out because the season is about 4 or 5 months longer than a college season, right? So you're playing from March to October versus August to November. So you have a couple more months in there. But I think for me, the transition really hit in the second year. Um, Actually, no, I lied. The transition was hard, but I want to say like addicting, like that um, level of intensity, knowing that I was at that level. And yeah, that was really addicting. But professional wise, the game is much more, it's sharper, it's a little bit faster. Um, but the technical ability is way better, and everyone in every session is so focused. Like in college, you could be in la la land on some days, and like your touch doesn't have to be good, you know. But then the transition to pros, everything has to be pristine, has to be clean, or you're getting yelled at, or you're not dressing because your touch was bad that day, or, so the intensity was much, much more extreme at the pros than it was in college. I know I just rambled a little bit on that one, but
And when you were with the Spirit, I believe you actually stayed with a family, um, and you consider them to be kind of like a second family. Uh,
Mhm.
how important was it to have such a close bond with the family that you were staying with?
Yeah, I love them so much. They're actually going to come out to the luncheon for my speech, for my Hall of Fame speech. They, yeah, it was different at first, transitioning from like college, living by myself, roommates, to now I'm living with a family. But they're the absolute best family like I could have ever asked for. And I think being, you know, with them outside of that sports world was really good for my health mentally, like just to come back and reset and not have all this soccer talk and all these girls that I'm competing with, playing against, you know. And I grew really close to my host mom. She's become like an aunt to me, and we still talk regularly. So they really, really took care of me when they didn't have to, and just again are part of my family. Yeah.
And right on. That is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty great.
Later on, you got to play in Sweden. Gosh, what was that experience like?
Yeah. I had come out of my fourth year on the Spirit, and I was like in and out of playing time. Like I'm starting and bent on the bench. I'm starting, I'm on the bench. Like I just wanted some consistency. So I was like, I'm gonna go somewhere and I just want to play. Just get those minutes again, get that confidence back up again. And the agent that I had at the time found this team in Sweden. And again, felt very lucky because it was during COVID. Sweden was the only place that was open. I was able to play a full season there, get a bunch of games under my belt. But I really loved Sweden. I loved the girls on my team. I met a couple of my best friends on that team as well. And their style of soccer is very smart. It's foreign. They're technical. They have tactical, like they're very tactically aware of this is how we're gonna penetrate their back line. They're not brutally athletic, right? They're savvy, and that's my style of play. I am athletic. I'm fast, but I'm not like a really physical player. And I'm very technical. So it very much matched my style.
I guess when when you weren't playing, what were your favorite things to just do in Sweden and and as you're kind of experiencing the
Yeah,
surroundings?
I loved, you know, at the time I hated biking because I had to bike everywhere. It was like back in college. I didn't have a mode of transportation except biking. But I mean, biking around the community in the city was always just beautiful. The weather would get to like 88 as a high, and everyone would panic and have to have like water breaks. Hang out with friends a lot, played a lot of card games um, with my teammates, lunch with my teammates. I would say majority of my time was spent like with my friends, just building friendships and building relationships.
How was the food there?
I liked Swedish food. Have you ever had food in Sweden or
Well, the closest thing I've had to like Swedish food, it's like the Swedish meatballs at IKEA.
IKEA? Yeah, that's what they're famous for. Yeah. Um, I thought it was really good. I'm not a picky eater. I will eat anything and everything. So, they have this thing called fika, which is like coffee and a pastry. And it's like their social time because the Swedes aren't like necessarily the most social country. So, um, what was great about like fika is you go, you get your pastry, but I think there's a sugar tax in Sweden. So like everything wasn't as sweet as it was in the US from like a dessert standpoint, pastry standpoint. But yeah, the food was great. I no complaints.
You finished your professional playing career with the Houston Dash. When you look back on your career and everything that you accomplished, the challenges, the sacrifices, life-changing experiences, everything, how has all of that shaped you into the person that you are today?
Who, that's a great question. Really great question. Really great question. Um, yeah, I mean, I went through a lot of adversity in my professional career, and I went through a lot of success in my collegiate career and outside of sport. There were so many other life events happening. But for me, like you mentioned, I wouldn't be the person I am today, with at least in regards to strength, uh, unity, communication, especially now in these corporate settings, like being involved in like teams, like how do you operate with people? Um, I need to calm down on like the competitive side just a little bit. But other than that, I definitely wouldn't be who I am today without the experiences I've had. And I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have today without the playing career that I also had. So I'm very, again, I can't stop saying these words, appreciative and grateful. And I wouldn't take anything back for a second. I had a really cool life and I still have a really cool life and um, a very unique experience and a very unique career. Yeah.
How did you first get into coaching?
Great question. When I first started playing, my professional contract was $9,000 for the year. So I was barely cutting it like during the months. And I was like, okay, what other avenues can I take to make money? And that's been a lot of my life as I've been a hustler. Like I'm always finding ways to make money. And I started giving lessons and I realized my first lesson, I did awful. She didn't come back, but that's okay. I didn't give up after that. Because now I have like a full-time business operating like in a coaching space of, like I said, coaching female youth. So essentially got into coaching to make a little extra cash money, realized A, I'm good at it, B, I love it, C, I get to meet and work with some amazing athletes, some amazing young women, and it definitely became just a really, really big passion of mine.
What does it mean to you to be able to use your experiences and your wisdom to help these young athletes grow?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times I can see myself in these young athletes as well. And so just knowing what I went through and how can I help them with their mindset or their way of thinking or um, their technique, like on the soccer piece. A lot of the times when I am coaching and doing these things, parents just want me to help with their confidence. So preaching like, you know, mental positive self-talk, right? And again, fortunately, playing collegiately and professionally, I've had access to, sports psychologists. So being able to take those things away to implement or teach to these girls, right? So for me, yeah, if I didn't, I think I wouldn't have the amount of girls that I have, and if I didn't have those experience of playing professionally or collegiately.
Now, last question here. What is the biggest piece of advice that you have for student athletes that are currently in college?
Currently in college, I would say just be mindful of, where you're at. Like if you are not playing, I would say go somewhere where you're gonna play. If you're playing and want to play professionally, how can you be active and proactive in making that happen, right? So for me, my biggest advice would be to enjoy it because A, it goes by so fast. and, be proactive in your future. Like, how can you set yourself up for success now and do all these small things, tiny details now to create a better future?
Well, that is some fantastic advice, Callie. And thank you so much for giving me some of your time today, letting me talk with you. This has been an absolute honor. So thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.